How's it going, everybody? Another good night for the Yankees. They take down the Boston Red Sox in Game 1 of the series. Alex Verdugo gets his revenge on the Red Sox for trading him, and his interview after the game was terrific.
Hey there, Derek. Jason here. I have a bit of a controversial take, but in the 1990s, we had this guy come up as a starter that we converted to a reliever, and he just so happened to become the greatest closer of all time. His name is Mariano Rivera. I don't know what the community's thoughts are, but I'm curious, what are your thoughts on possibly converting Luis Gil to inherit that throne as the next reliever turned closer on the New York Yankees? I know he's a great starter, but I know we're also concerned about his health and his pitch count and his limits. And if he became a closer, that would really no longer be an issue.
Well, I want Luis Gil in the rotation long term. I don't see him as a long-term closer. I see him as a long-term front end of the rotation starter, which is much more valuable because he's already thrown more innings than a closer probably would in a whole season. So you get that great pitching for more innings throughout the season as a starting pitcher. Now, this year, they are planning to back off of him at some point. I don't know what their plans are for the postseason. It really depends on kind of how he looks. You know, they track every delivery now. They track every pitch. They like to see how a guy is letting the ball out of his hand, if it's getting the same kind of spin rate, all that stuff, the arm speed. They track every little thing. And I just want the Yankees to do what's best for them to win a championship this year. I'm so tired of doing the postmortem video in mid-October or last year, early October. I want this Yankees team to get to the World Series. If that means pitching Luis Gil out of the bullpen some, so be it. If that means using him as a starting pitcher, so be it.
Hey, Derek, I thought I'd try to shed some light on the Clay Holmes. Is he best as a setup, a middle relief pitcher, closing pitcher? Well, if you look at Clay Holmes' stats and maybe his more deep dive analytical stats, his FIP among closing pitchers in the MLB is right about on par, which is good. His ERA is pretty on par too, but then you look at his WHIP, his K per nines, and his batting average against him. You know, and there's a reason he's called, you know, heart attack Holmes or hypertension Holmes or whatever you want to call him. Because it feels like every time he goes to close, you know, how many times have we seen runners on first and third, second or third, even bases loaded with no outs or one out, and he somehow is able to get out of it? I think for that reason, I think he would be really good as a setup guy, you know, with that sinker that he has. I feel like he causes a lot of soft contact. But for a closer, sometimes those soft contacts get through as, you know, base hits.
You are preaching to the converted, my friend. Now look, soft contact for a closer isn't always terrible. Mariano Rivera got soft contact, but he could also get the strikeout with much more ease than it seems to come for Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes, if he would throw his slider a little bit more, or maybe he would use the four-seamer up in the zone, you know, at 98, 99 miles an hour, if he could control it. I don't know if he can control it. Then he would pick up more Ks. But the Yankees have pretty much told him, throw the sinker, throw it pretty much exclusively, and you'll get a ton of ground balls. He's got the highest ground ball rate, I think, in the major leagues, or one of the top few. And that seems to be his game plan. And it works for him. But maybe I'm traumatized by too many soft hits that have gotten through, or choppers that have found the line, or whatever. But I just want my closer to be able to miss more bats and for us not to have to constantly be in a state of dread when they're pitching. I want a nice, consistent strikeout pitcher as my closer.
Eric John from California here. My second call to you. My first one was about Giancarlo Stanton and his Little League strikeouts. Well, last night he proved my point. He had 3 of them where he missed each third strike by about 3 feet.
Giancarlo is such a weird player to me because, like you said, he'll have these games where he looks like a little leaguer. He looks completely lost against anybody who's got a mid to upper 90s fastball and a good breaking ball to go with it. If you can keep him honest with the fastball, you can get him out with a slider, even if it's in the other batter's box most of the time. But then he also hits these 475-foot home runs and these 115-mile-an-hour laser beam line drives. It's a shame he can't run or play defense, because if he was even a little bit more of a baseball player like he tried to become, I think the Yankees would have a hell of a player. But as a DH, he's basically good for the occasional home run and lots of strikeouts, and if he gets on base, he clogs up the bases. I know there's a lot of people out there that love Giancarlo. Hell, I love Giancarlo. He's clutch as all get out, but I think the Yankees would be better off with an actual baseball player on that roster spot, and maybe not quite so many automatic strikeouts. Just my 2 cents.
Hey, Derek, great program. Garrett Crochet's leading the league in strikeouts. His whip is under 1 at .90. And he doesn't have a great record because the White Sox average a run a game when he's pitching. We got to beat Baltimore to this guy. Anyway, have a great day.
Baltimore has new ownership, and they've also got a ton of prospects. I feel like they're going to be extremely dangerous at the trade deadline and probably pick up some very key pieces. It would behoove the Yankees to make some moves early and sort of snatch the rug out from under the Orioles if they can. But teams aren't anxious to help the Yankees. They're not anxious to make these moves and deal away their players. They're going to wait to get the maximum value at the deadline. And I feel like the Orioles have more prospects than pretty much anybody. So the Orioles are probably going to be extremely aggressive in trying to put their team over the top. Yanks are going to have to be creative.
Hey guys, my name is Joe. I was just thinking about the power and the offense that the Yankees need to upgrade at the corners. I think that if the Yankees just trade Jose Trevino, which he's a great backstop, he's a great game caller, he's a great defensive catcher. I think if they trade him away, reunite with Gary Sanchez with a great throwing arm.
I'm sorry, but you lost me at bring back Gary Sanchez.
Hey, what's going on, Derek? This is Vincent from Jersey. I got a question for you. First of all, I'm a long-time listener. Love the show. It's awesome. I end every game. As soon as the game ends every day, I switch straight to your show. Excellent recap. Love it. But I got a question. Would you take just 1 year of Soto and guaranteed win the chip this year and lose him in free agency to probably the Mets or whoever, or not win this year and sign him for 10 years long term?
That's a great question, and I'd love the audience feedback on this one as well. I would love to see what you guys would think. The question is, would we take the 1 year of Juan Soto if we were guaranteed a championship this year, but we have to lose him in free agency, or would we trade a loss this year for 10 years of Juan Soto? And to me, the answer is pretty simple. I would always take the championship. I want the guaranteed championship this year. I think it would be an all-time team to win with Judge and Soto. And if he leaves via free agency, so be it. You're starting over with some young guys. You got Spencer Jones. You got Jason Dominguez. You would have a little bit more money to spend in free agency. Maybe you go out and you get a Corbin Burns. I would definitely sign up for the championship, number 28, all day long and twice on Sunday. That's my answer.